As we get older, we often feel a strange, hollow emptiness creeping into our hearts that we simply cannot explain. We spend our entire days busy, constantly interacting with others, performing our various roles as parents, professionals, colleagues, or neighbors. We live our lives in a state of perpetual, exhausting motion. Yet the moment we finally return home and sit in the quiet of our own space, an unexpected wave of anxiety hits us. People often tell us this is just a natural part of aging. But perhaps the truth is that we have never really learned how to be alone. We are gripped by the fear that, if we are not constantly connected to someone, we will be forgotten. We are paralyzed by the anxiety that if our phones aren't buzzing, we are somehow excluded from the world. So, we waste our precious energy scrolling through screens, checking notifications, and dragging ourselves to meaningless social gatherings, just to feel relevant, forgetting that we are the architects of our own lives. Ironically, the more we surround ourselves with others in this frantic way, the more exhausted and empty we feel. The effort of forcing a smile, the exhaustion of suppressing our own opinions to please someone else, and the heavy weariness we feel when we finally close our front door. These are the things that are slowly draining our vitality. Why have we become so terrified of our own company? Today, we are going to use the sharp insights of the 19th century philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer to fundamentally dissect this problem of loneliness that plagues our middle years. We are going to move beyond simple tips on how to be alone and explore how to truly maintain our dignity and inner peace without being swayed by the opinions of others. It is about understanding that solitude is not a state of emptiness, but a state of absolute, profound fullness. Schopenhauer once made a very clear and firm declaration: a man can be himself only so long as he is alone. Many people misunderstand the word solitude as a synonym for loneliness, a state where one feels deprived because there are no people around. But philosophically, solitude exists on an entirely different level. Loneliness is a state of lack, felt because you need others to fill a void. Solitude, however, is a state of fullness, obtained by standing face to face with yourself. Think about how much of your life has been spent wearing a mask to meet social standards, or to win approval from others. How many relationships have you maintained while suppressing your true self, just because you were afraid of what others might think? Every time you trade your values for validation, you are dismantling your own dignity. We often forget that seeking approval from others is the fastest way to lose yourself. You are far more than the opinions others hold of you. Schopenhauer explained this through the porcupine dilemma. In the cold of winter, a group of porcupines huddle together to share warmth. But if they get too close, they prick each other with their sharp quills. If they move too far apart, they freeze. Our middle-aged relationships are exactly like this. We need to maintain an optimal distance to protect ourselves from being hurt, yet too often, we give in to loneliness and endure the pain of being pricked, just so we aren't left alone. The true power of solitude that Schopenhauer emphasized is not about begging for warmth from the outside, but learning how to generate your own warmth from within. Stop chasing the furnace of other people's approval. Instead, ignite your own passions and establish your own philosophy. That is when you can truly live with dignity, even while keeping others at a healthy, respectful distance. A life that is sufficient unto itself, that is the ultimate destination for our middle years. So, how do we practice this in our daily lives? First, practice digital silence. We live in an era where the noise of the outside world floods our senses like a tidal wave. Through news, social media, and endless content, we are constantly force-fed other people's values. You need to practice entering a state of absolute silence for at least 30 minutes a day. Turn off your phone, turn off the noise, and just sit. It will feel boring and anxious at first, but that boredom is the clearest signal that your inner self is beginning to strengthen. Only when you block out the external noise can you finally begin to hear your own voice. Second, you must practice the art of saying number. You must be bold enough to clear away the relationships that are draining your life force. A person who knows how to be in solitude chooses their company actively, while a person who fears solitude is controlled by the relationships they drift into. Walk away from gatherings that do not respect you, and leave the tables where people waste energy by gossiping. Your time is more precious than anything else, and you alone have the right to decide who you share it with. This is not being selfish, it is being wise. Third, find deep focus. The true wealth of your later years is not found in your bank account, but in knowing what brings you the most authentic joy. Whether it is reading, gardening, playing an instrument, or simply contemplating the world, find something that you love for its own sake without needing an audience or the approval of lights. That time spent in deep focus is what builds your inner strength and adds a unique depth to your character. You are not a background character in someone else's life. You are the protagonist of your own. Treat yourself with respect, and you will find that the world begins to show you that same respect in return. You are capable of so much more than you realize. We need to abandon the obsession that we must surround ourselves with more people as we age. Solitude is not a tragedy or a sign of being lonely. It is the most powerful evidence that you are the master of your own life and the essential path to a dignified maturity. I truly hope that this philosophical reflection serves as a quiet, warm guide for your journey ahead. Today, I hope you find the courage to step away from the gaze of others and focus entirely on the person you were meant to be. Thank you for walking this path of the heart with me. If you found peace in these words, please subscribe to the Seasoned Sage for more wisdom on living a life of dignity. Until next time, stay true to yourself.